My name is Keith Kelly. I'm 84 years of age, and I started as an apprentice mechanic at Air Canada, or Trans-Canada Airlines, and subsequently ended up as the Director of Labor Relations for Air Canada. I've been now retired 26 years.
So you're born what year?
1940. March 1940.
Born in Pointe-Claire Village.
Pointe-Claire Village.
So you said you were raised in Pointe-Claire, and you were raised in, let's say, the West Island before people called it the West Island, right?
Oh, yes. Yes. I mean, I was born and raised in the village of Pointe-Claire, and it was very, very small at the time, primarily French when I grew up. Everybody who lived there was French. And then gradually the English people seemed to be coming from the British people coming in to the Pointe-Claire area. They expanded into areas like Bowling Green, Cedar Park, Brunette Avenue, and places like that. That expanded. The English started to come in there.
But you preceded that.
I preceded all that, yes.
Okay, so tell me who moved to Pointe-Claire and when that was, and where did they come from? What's that story?
My family, my grandparents and my father came to Canada in 1907 by boat. And they moved into Villemard, which is part down by the LaSalle area, Villemard. Subsequently bought some property on Pointe-Claire Avenue and moved out there, I think around 1909, 1910, something like that.
Moved?
They moved out because they built the house out there. The first house they built was this one here.
Do you know why they would want to come all the way out?
I really don't know.
Because people who are in the East End today in 2024 will still call this country.
Yeah.
So I imagine 120
I don't know
years
why
ago,
they would come, and if you see that picture that I showed you about where the house is, it's in the middle of a field. There was nothing there. And why they decided to go there, I really don't know. Nobody ever told me.
So your father was raised in Pointe-Claire?
Yeah. Well, he started off in Villemard and then raised in Pointe-Claire.
So at that age, because even looking at this picture, by the time you came around, the area had developed a little bit.
Well, by the time I came around, all the house, this house here was there. My grandparents' house was next. My uncle and aunts were next. And then there was 2 lots after that, which belonged to my aunt and uncle.
What was the address of the...
72 Pointe-Claire Avenue.
That's this house?
That's this one.
72 Pointe-Claire, okay.
72, and then 74 was my grandparents. 76 was my uncle and aunt. And
is it high up?
No, it's about middle way.
Middle way?
On the left-hand side.
Growing up, let's say in your pre-adolescent years, 8, 9, 10, describe what the landscape was like. You get outside and
I was always around and everything else, and one thing or another, I ended up one day being over in the quarry, and they had these big Mack trucks, deep dump trucks and everything.
Give me what year are we talking about, roughly?
Oh geez, I guess I would be probably 15 years old, something like that.
Okay, so early mid-50s.
Yeah.
Well, before Keith continues there, I just want to remind you all that I have a PayPal link down in the description below. If you want to give a donation to help out this channel or support what I'm doing, and if you like what I'm doing and you want me to continue to do more and more and more of this, you can support me by clicking that PayPal link down below and giving a donation. Anything will be very much appreciated. Thanks, and let's get back to Keith.
For whatever reason, I happened to decide to go down into the quarry, rode my bike over, went down in the quarry. There's this big, beautiful Mack truck sitting there. It wasn't beautiful, it was beat up as hell. And I saw this bulldog on the front of the radiator cap. So I thought, geez, that'll look good on my bicycle. So I took it. I unscrewed it. And I took it home and I drilled a hole in my bicycle fender and put it on there, and I'm driving around the village, brave as hell. I got this beautiful bulldog on there and everything. Anyway, one morning I was getting up out of bed, and my father and the ex-chief of police, Bill Gillette, were friendly from time in the military for whatever reason.
Big guy, eh?
Eh?
Big guy.
Yeah, very nice guy. Anyway, he was over having coffee with my dad on the front porch of that house. And I got up and went and had my cereal in the dining room, and I came downstairs. I came out, and I'm just ready to leave, and my father says, Keith, Mr. Gillette wants to talk to you about something. I said, oh. So he says, come with me. He took me down to my bike, and he says to me, where did you get that? And he pointed to the Bulldog. I said, well, I took it off the truck in the quarry. He says, well, they won't get into any trouble, but he says, get your screwdriver, whatever it takes right now, get it on it, and get over there and give it to Mr. DeVito personally. So I had to go back, give it back to old man DeVito. Told him I was sorry I took it.
You were sorry you weren't. You know what blows my mind is the pettiness of the crime, and the chief of police is there for this one little decal from the truck.
Well, somebody must have.
So what is that? So what does that say about the size of the town?
Oh shit! You know, it's small. Everybody knew everybody. You know, and I think like we used to have a siren 9 o'clock at night. They used to blow a siren down in the fire hall, and you're supposed to be off the street at 9 o'clock at night. Most of us were.
How long into
that would be when I was anywhere up to about time I was about 14, 15. There
was a curfew.
Yeah, curfew, 9 o'clock.
What happened after that? Is it just what happened after
just disappeared, I guess. I don't know.
No, but what happened after? Why do you think they?
Oh, I guess maybe the police would come along and shoo you home or something.
But why? Because we're under the impression that, well, I guess kids in previous generations had more free reign.
Oh yeah.
That's why I'm just curious about this juxtaposition of there being a curfew at 9 o'clock.
Well,
still kids that got up to stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about free reign.
Is there another story coming?
Oh, another story. For Legault's in the village, they had the grocery store.
Yeah.
And Mr. Legault used to pay.
Was it Marcel?
Well, Marcel was the son.
Right.
He was the son. Artem was the father. And that's where they were in the old orchard is
Art
now.
Legault.
Art Legault, yeah. And he used to pay me $2 for a Saturday to go in the shed behind the place and sort out all the beer bottles and put them all in cases and everything because they were all returns. And I do that. I worked for a whole day doing that. And $2 was a lot of money at that time. And I was probably 10 years old, 11 years old, I think.
Take someone to the movie theater.
Oh yeah, we did that too. Well, she could tell you about that. She got thrown out for laughing too much at the theater.
Papa Sibs.
Yeah, anyway, I ended up going with the guy on the truck to deliver, a guy named Pops Godin. And one time I was about 8 or 9 years old, no much older than that. And he said to me, would you like to try and drive this thing? And of course, the reason being is that we used to deliver the groceries to different people, and the boxes were heavy, and I was a skinny little guy and couldn't carry. So he thought if I could drive the truck, he could deliver, you see. So I remember my mother having a fit, and I'm going down the street.
And how old is Pops?
Oh, Pops would be probably 30, 40 years old.
Okay, so he's old enough to know better.
Oh yeah, he was an older guy.
That's I thought maybe he was 15 or 14 or something.
No.
Good Lord.
Anyway, so
there was no insurance back. There was
no.
Or was it
nobody? And of course, nobody bothered you. I don't know if we even saw I never saw the police when I was doing that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Your delivery route, how expensive was it?
Basically was always in the village area, Pointe-Claire, de Bresley, maybe some on golf, not much on golf, and then I'd be into Burnett, Drayton, all that area there.
Past Victoria, you'd go past Victoria?
Yeah, a little bit past Victoria.
So a lot of Art's business was home delivery.
Oh yeah, at the time a lot of it was, yeah.
Okay, well let me ask you this, because it sounds like you're doing a lot of odds and ends. Between starting as early as 8 years old and you're, up into your early teens. Is it just to help pass time because what else was there to
Always
do?
had jobs.
Or did you need the money because you had bad habits? Or
No,
what did you...
I worked for Pointe-Claire Farm when I was young. The milk Elmhurst Dairy finally came out to the West Island, so I started working for the guy in Elmhurst Dairy.
Where were they situated?
Well, they're in Montreal West.
But you're talking just the delivery.
They
guy.
they started delivering. I helped the guy. We used to start over at Bayview Avenue and work right through to the Pointe-Claire Avenue, and I worked for them for many years. And actually, I worked for guys that came after the. Well, then I also worked driving. When I was 16, I got my license. As soon as I got my license, I started driving a cleaner's truck for Art Bedard and Company, which was in Beaconsfield.
Oh, right.
But well,
So
I
you
always
seem
kept,
to be more of a on the road guy.
I
all these
was
jobs,
always-
nothing stationary.
No, I
you know?
was always busy. I delivered the Gazette, the Montreal Star, the Lakeshore News. I worked on milk trucks. I worked on a bread truck, which what?
Lumber truck.
Oh, a lumber truck when I was out of high school. When I quit high school, I went and worked at a place that's now, well, it's gone. It was called Pratt Lumber. It was on the highway, on the 20. It's gone, you know.
Do you remember any hangout spots, or where was a hot spot for you to hang out?
Oh, yes. And I laughed because you did an interview with Bernice Barry. Yeah, what Bernice talked about was funny as hell because...
You watched the whole interview?
Yeah, oh yeah. She talked about going out, hanging out at the golf store, which we called the golf store, which was at the corner of Golf Avenue and Lakeshore, where Westmount Florist is right now.
Yeah.
We called that the golf store
Why golf?
because it was on the corner of Golf Avenue, and we all would refer to it as the golf store.
Okay, they didn't sell putts or
No.
9 irons.
No, it was just the golf. It was now.
Just the
My
store on
father
the golf.
used to say, "You guys are holding up the front window in that place. You're there all the time." It was a gathering point.
What
And
was it?
It was a half restaurant, half candy store.
What do you remember the name?
Well, it was called the golf store. All I ever knew I knew the people that owned it. I knew the people.
You know, that wasn't the official name though.
No, I don't think it might not have had a.
Our boys called it a golf store. Yeah.
No, I don't think it had a name. To
I'm
be honest.
I don't think so.
Because it was when I was a kid, Mr. St. Marie owned it,
Mr. St. Marie?
St. Marie, and he lived on the Lakeshore Road about 4 houses further west from there. And then after he had it, Mr. Allard bought it, which was no relation to Julia or Leon. There was another Mr. Allard, lived on the same street under Bresley Avenue. And then after that, a Mr. Brodeur bought it. And then after that, I don't know, I think they sold it out to Westmount Florist. You could get a hot dog or a hamburger, and you could get candies and stuff like that, you know. And then you have a pinball machine in there.
So if for example, I cruise the old newspapers, what years, if they were to advertise, let's say, they were there the 50s for sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
my
yeah.
son was born in the 60s. Our eldest one. He's 60 now, but he went there.
And it was there too?
He told the dentist that
Oh.
was a golf store spotless.
Yeah, like he was getting cavities, and you're saying, I get all my candies down at the golf store.
The golf store, they were probably advertising and no one knew what the heck it was.
Oh, they didn't.
Well, I
Because it had
think
the
that
name.
the locals,
Advertise.
the locals knew what it was.
Yeah, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Somebody called it later on. Somebody called it the Black Cat or something, but I don't know
Yeah,
where that.
that's true.
I don't know where that came from.
Okay. Do you think that their address is on Lakeshore or
Yeah, it's on
golf?
Lakeshore. Oh,
They had
definitely.
It's on-
comics too there. They had comics.
Yeah.
It was the golf store for you going back in your earliest memories?
I was
or-
probably anywhere from 8 to 10 years old when I started going down there.
So it's summertime, you're walking down to the
Oh, yeah.
village, and this is one of the first places
You
you're
ride
gonna
your
stop
bike
at.
down and you hang out down there. I know a terrible story, but there was a phone booth there, and it cost a nickel to call your home. I used to call my mother and say, I'm not coming home tonight, I'm going to have a hamburger here, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But That was when I was probably anywhere 8 to 10, 12
Where
years
did you
old.
call me from? Because you wouldn't call from your house.
I probably called from the Gulf store phone booth.
You didn't want his sister.
My sisters were too nosy.
You're old enough really to have taken advantage of the water, of
Oh.
the lake, right? Because you're a little bit pre-polio and pre-St. Lawrence Seaway and pollution and all that stuff.
First of all, we swam in the water. My father used to come home off the train, come home, get changed, and we used to go down to the lake and go swimming, right at the bottom of Pointe-Claire Avenue, where that house extension was.
Or where there's a bus stop there, right?
Well, there's a bus stop there now, yeah.
But what was it? Did you go down a step or what
Oh, there
was
was
that
a
like?
bit of grass there, and then you'd go down a rough. There was no steps, right? And you made your way down.
Mm-hmm.
Then my uncle, that I told you about, the Scotsman,
Mm-hmm.
he had what they called a Vershare boat, which was a wooden rowboat, and he used to take it down, and we used to go out with him and that. But we could go swimming. Actually, I think we could even drink the water at the time. It was clear. This friend of mine lived down the Grove. His father had a big speedboat, a V8 engine in it and everything. And we would work for the milkman on Elmhurst, Harry, and he would go into the Dajna's Tavern in the village and get his breakfast and a few beers, and Gary and I would drive the truck around the village area delivering all in Brunei, Drayton and all, delivering the milk, and he'd give us $5 to do that, and then we'd go back and pick him up, and then he'd finish the route and with us and everything else. We'd take that $5 and we'd go down to the Pointe-Claire Yacht Club and fill up with the gas, and fill the tank to the top for $5 of gas. And then we would get on the water skis. One of us would drive and the other had on the water skis, and we'd ski from Pointe-Claire Pier all the way to St. Anne de Bellevue.
Oh my God.
And then we'd stop there and switch, and the other guy would get on the skis and drive back. We didn't have life jackets. We didn't have anything. It was terrible. No paddles, nothing.
You're a young teenager at this point.
We were 16, probably 17 at that time.
Man.
Now,
So, I mean, having the water there, accessible and, swimmable, it must have just given the village a very different just atmosphere and aura and just feel, until the point where, do you remember when people were saying we shouldn't go in there anymore?
well, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it got to the point where we were pumping so much sewerage in there that it started to get polluted. And of course,
Which is just from the development that was happening.
A bit of the development was
and
expanding.
they couldn't keep up, right?
I guess it couldn't. And the other thing is, when you looked at the lake, you could see two colors in it when I was a kid. You could see a darker color close to shore, and you could see the green color further out.
The river.
And of course, a lot of the darker stuff allegedly came through from the Ottawa River, which came down through St. Anne's at the locks and that, and came down. So it was started to get polluted. Then we were told, you got to be more careful. You can't go in as much. I don't think it slowed us up that much, but in general, people started to stay away from the water.
Well, polio.
Yeah, polio.
The late
like
40s,
Yeah.
Around.
Yeah, polio and stuff like that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Outside of Chenyers in Pointe-Claire Village, there was a chip stand. You could buy hot dogs, chips, and everything else. A guy by the name of George Ramel owned it. And of course, that's one place you would go. We lived in the village. We'd go and get our hot dogs and chips and one thing another.
What about the golf store?
Well, the golf store had hamburgers, but didn't have French fries. They didn't have French fries.
But your place had French fries.
Well, the chip stand did.
So when you say chips, you mean fries?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, okay.
Not potato chips.
No, they're French fries.
Okay. Yeah.
So
okay.
he had
The
this-
old name for fries.
Yeah.
Chips.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Avenue.
Where would it have been?
We parked it on the side of the old hotel on the street. St. Shawsham goes down,
Yeah.
Right on the side of the building.
Not where the parking lot it was. Eventually on the west side.
It was on the east side.
Oh, on the east side.
Yeah, well, no, it was on the west side of the building.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so there was enough room there. You could park this old Model T Ford truck and whatever it had in the chip stand. That's where we went. Anyway,
That was what Bernice was talking about, I think, because she talked about a
Maybe.
truck that had the best French fries.
well, that would
and
be
hot
it.
dogs.
That's the only one.
No, but it was outside the school at one time.
Well, just wait, I didn't get there.
Oh boy! Spoiler alert.
Anyway, I knew this guy, and of course, I was a local customer and everything else. So then he said to me one day, he says, you go to John Rennie High School? I said, yeah. He says, I want to take my truck up there at lunchtime. He says, I think I could make some money. I said, well, it's probably a good idea, Mr. Duhamel. It's probably not a bad idea. Anyway, he decided to do it. And of course, he didn't need permits or anything like that. He drove the bloody thing up, and he set up across the street, across St. John's Road, before any of those apartments and that were built opposite John Rennie. And he parked there and started selling, and it was going like hotcakes. So one day I went to get my stuff, and he said to me, Kelly, come here. He says, would you help me? He says, if you help me, you can have free lunch every day. And so I ended up, and of course in those days, we had to wear a blue blazer, shirt and tie, and everything. And of course, I didn't like the blue blazer very much, but long story short, I'd go out there at lunch. Next thing you know, I'm in the chip wagon with them and serving out the potato chips and all this sort of, and I stunk like hell. I went home one night and my mother says, where have you been? Oh, I said, I helped Mr. Duhamel in the chip stand. Oh my God, what does your blazer smell like? I said, well, I left it in my locker. But he was there for 3-4 years, I think. I'm
What?
surprised that Karen and some of those other kids didn't mention that.
It's just because there's always memories
Yeah.
that they need the trigger. I'm sure if I ask them,
They'll remember it,
Because
I'm
you
sure.
worked there, that's the difference. You know, like he's got,
Yeah, so he's got different memories.
Yeah,
As opposed to someone who may have gone once or twice.
yeah.
Because it was strict, right? Like, weren't they strict? You couldn't leave the school at lunchtime?
No, I don't think so. We got out at lunch because I walked down the milk bar.
You could have done anything.
At lunchtime.
Oh yeah,
Lucky.
oh yeah.
Do you remember in my video I said it all started with a picture of John Rennie kids walking down
Well,
the
I
track?
wanted to see the clear picture of those. I might be able to identify them. I thought about that. I saw the picture somewhere on your videos, and I was saying to Christine, I bet you I could identify some of those
Oh
kids.
my God.
Anyway, enough of that.
Okay, take your ear out, whatever you're talking through.
I haven't finished my list yet.
Oh, good.
Oh, I finished.
You always some big list.
Okay,